What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and give me a little heads up in the comment section. Just let me know how my sound's doing. Like I mentioned in the previous video, I've got a new microphone, so I'm just tweaking it, testing it, and trying to get it back to that real sweet spot. Once again, there's a lot of things that we could talk about today, to be quite honest, and there's so many things going on behind the scenes that I want to speak about with you guys, but I'm simply unable to do that. As a lot of you know here on the channel, anytime that I produce one of my own ideas and I put it out there into the public, it is taken and it is used and utilized somewhere else. So I have to be very careful what I tell people and what information I give out in regards to Project Remedy. But there are a lot more things to talk about. For example, we've got all of this nonsense really being trumped up with the Cardano founder sort of putting the feelers out, saying he wants to work with LUNC. But look, who's in charge? It's quite obvious, dude. You are the owner of Cardano. Stop playing the dumb card. You know the chain is decentralized, you know it was born from the crash, you know it has no leader, and you know exactly what you are doing. We need to be very careful with people like the Cardano leader and founder, because he has one individual unique goal, and that is to ensure that Cardano survives and thrives. Not Lunar Classic. We need to understand a lot of the times when one of these big players reach out, it's going to be a stepping stone move. They're going to try to use us to step higher. We don't want to be anybody else's stepping stone. In fact, we want to be realistically using other chains as stepping stones to get higher. That's just the bite and the crunch of crypto. And if you don't like that kind of attitude, you probably shouldn't be trading crypto at this point in time. Now, there's a lot of talk at the moment around an SDK upgrade, going to that all important 0.50. And as much as I believe this is a good idea, I think we should go to SDK 50. There's a lot of ins and outs and intricacies that aren't really being explained with this. And again, with any upgrade to the SDK, there's going to be a payment. And when I look at the upgrade itself from my own perspective, right, it's ahead of its time. It's a situation where the current network usage or the dApps in our ecosystem are not really going to fully utilize the features of 0.50, even though there might be a couple, right? It's not the broader consensus. Something else that really is not selling it with the new SDK is, if that SDK version is in fact stable and functional, is it not better, okay, for us right now with a stable and functional SDK like we have, is it not a better idea to maybe focus on some usability or some broader adoption, something that is going to produce more yield and more benefits than a simple technical overhaul that we really don't need at the moment? And we've discussed this previously when somebody else wanted to go to the SDK 50, and we just said it's not worth it. We haven't progressed that far. We don't have dApps tools and utilities that are really going to use the IBC and cross-chain collaboration, for example. So those features are enticing, don't get me wrong, but we don't have projects or liquidity or the user demand to fully capitalize on IBC integration. You're watching ThorChain collapse, right? Right, exactly. So they are struggling with IBC integration. They've essentially stretched themselves too thin. So without strong cross-chain partnerships, plans, this is all just going to result in a heavily underutilized upgrade that's going to change all of the infrastructure, create a lot more technical work for people who already have projects up. And at the same time, it's like cost versus necessity. $39,500 is quite costly, and the community might benefit more from reallocating these funds to areas like market, dApp incentives, user engagement, bug bounties. We could also think about the adoption or transaction volumes being quite low, and this upgrade, it's simply just not needed. We don't need to improve network performance because the chain is very efficient. We went through this previously when people were saying about why couldn't we see a Trump-based meme coin on the Lunar Classic chain, and would we stumble and stutter like Solana does? And the answer is no, we wouldn't. The biggest crash in crypto history could not take this blockchain out. So another thing that's being mentioned in this SDK upgrade is the skip go optimization. I'm not hugely in the know with skip go, but I know it's all to do with reducing latency, optimizing transactions, and it is valuable, don't get me wrong, but it's not a priority unless the network is frequently congested, which it's not. And this is pretty clear from the runnings and the ongoings of the chain. When have you ever seen a chain halt? Well, exactly, you haven't. You've only ever seen a chain halt when it's been done manually. This is really a situation where you're going further than you need to go. My opinion for future proofing is to stay on the current SDK that we're on, because it aligns with the Terra Classic and the broader ecosystem of the Cosmos, and it's preventing us from really getting all confused, creating more technical work, spending more money on stuff that we don't really need to do, sending the community down this path of like, oh, there's another upgrade. Oh, it's going to be really bullish, when nothing is actually going to change. Nothing's going to happen. You're just going to create more work. You're going to remove more people from the ecosystem with this upgrade that essentially just keeps creating more work for projects that are simply not earning any money anymore. So the cross-chain potential and the collaboration, don't get me wrong. Like I said, we need to work on these kind of things. And even if, for example, you did go to SDK 50 and they pushed this and the validator set was like, hell yeah, let's go for it. Even if those IBC, integrations are not fully like utilized, you're still enabling the integration of the IBC. You're opening the door for partnerships and liquidity sharing opportunities with other Cosmos-based chains in the long term, relayers, repeaters, whatever you want to call it. This move in itself could diversify token utility, bring in more users and developers if you were to try to look for a more positive bite and crunch, I would say. But the government's enhancements, I'm not like, they're mentioning about improved performance could streamline decision making and it would allow the blockchain to handle the future demand more efficient. I just don't understand where this information's come from and how suddenly this SDK upgrade is going to lead us to like, oh, an enhanced governance system and it's going to be so much better for voting on stuff. It's like, what? How? Like, how? I don't understand. But what I do understand is going to SDK 50 would be a bit of a mistake right now. The user adoption and engagement, ecosystem growth, and then cost benefit analysis, you can kind of see it's not worth it. It's not worth spending $39,500 on these upgrades. It's a gamble. There's no phased approach. We need a much more strategized approach that is going to make much more sense, and maybe upgrading parts of the infrastructure when the demand justifies it. Because when we go and we look at the current standing of the blockchain, well, Orbit Labs are deforking the entire code base. So essentially, they're bringing us more in line with the broader Cosmos. And now, before this even happened, people want to upgrade to a new SDK. It's just crazy at this point. I think people feel that we must progress. There must be an upgrade. We must do something. And then it's just going to be labeled as a crappy little upgrade. It's not going to be labeled as the Ethereum Pectra upgrade of 2025. It's just going to be, oh, we're upgrading to SDK 50. It's going to be wicked. Governance is going to be so much better, gosh. Yeah, not buying it, not being sold. Definitely not going to be supporting something like this until the demand justifies it. But what I really think we should focus on, if we are going to push some kind of SDK upgrade, is trying to do what Ethereum are doing. It's quite clear people want to see fancy marketing. They want to see launch times. They want to hear this very fancy name. They don't like boring things. This is why people are so interested in trading meme coins, because they're fun, they're interesting, they're brash, they're bold, they're new. Nobody really wants to buy into a boring upgrade. I want to buy into a boring upgrade. Do you want to buy into a boring upgrade? Of course not. You want to have something that is labeled very, very nice, very beautiful, like the Italian word bellissima, very beautiful word, beautiful language. Ethereum Pectra upgrade. Here's everything that will change, and everybody's talking about it. If we can take a slice of this pie and we can recook that pie over in Luna Classic, we're going to have a very tasty pie for people to come and try. But let me know what you guys think about upgrading to the new SDK 5.0, and yeah, you know, we'll keep you up to date. Project Remedy's coming. Stay tuned. I'm very excited. It's very hard to keep my mouth shut about it all, but I'm very excited to bring it to you guys. Look, like I was saying at the beginning, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe. It's really going to help us out. Could help more people find LUNC. And aside that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. As always, I'll catch you in the next one.